I'm Colleen from Therapy Spark. In our last video, we showed you a creative twist on CPM exercises for the shoulder using eccentrics and target force with the BTE Primus. Today, we're advancing to a more aggressive series that will address return to function following injuries that affect the rotator cuff, labrum, or other soft tissue structures in the shoulder and the scapula. These injuries can occur in various situations like falls at home, overuse at work, or sports-related trauma. Whether you're an athlete, a weekend warrior, or just looking to return to work or basic day-to-day function, these unique Primus exercises allow you to quickly, objectively, and accurately target the shoulder region in an isolated or integrated manner. The cable system gives you the ability to provide full functional movement. Whether you're isolating the area of concern or moving to incorporate the entire kinetic chain, the Primus RS provokes and challenges muscle activation with concentric and eccentric contractions. Let's get started. We're going to first start with scapular mobility and stability with shoulder protraction-retraction using the cable system. Scapular strength and stabilization are the foundation to healthy shoulder function. These exercises are a must in any shoulder strengthening program regardless of client population. By using isotonics with BTE, you support your client's natural movement versus other methodologies like isokinetics. During retraction, we start by looking at the Primus with the arm forward flex to 90 degrees. We then want to instruct our client to concentrically contract the rhomboids, creating a retraction motion. They will eccentrically resist the motion, returning to the starting position. To isolate the serratus anterior with protraction, simply rotate your client so that they are looking away from the Primus. You can use several different handles depending on your client's needs. Most people find it easy to start with the wrist strap and then progress to more complex hand positions like the J handles or the spheres. Next is shoulder internal rotation with the shoulder at 90 degrees abduction. This position is really common in sports, jobs, and even some ADLs, making this exercise invaluable for rehab. For this exercise, the client is going to concentrically push down or internally rotate while the Primus provides resistance. This activates the shoulder internal rotators in isolation so that later we can build up to a full throwing or multi-dimensional overhead movement simulation. You can alternate between different handles, grip styles, and speeds to create specific sports or ADL activities. The wrist strap is a great way to add an extra challenge to this exercise. Now we're going to do a standing shoulder external rotation at 90 degrees abduction. This is inherently a weak motion and it's not easily isolated with other methods. So the Primus RS gives you a better, more replicable way to measure and perform this movement. This is usually harder than internal rotation, so you want to start with the lower resistance and a more stable handle, like a small sphere. This exercise requires the client to eccentrically resist as the Primus pulls the arm back into internal rotation. Now we're isolating the external rotators such as the teres minor and the infraspinatus in both the concentric and the eccentric phase. We usually start out with the J handle, and when the client is ready, you can progress to the wrist strap and the small or large spherical objects. As we progress to the exercise series, next we will perform the standing shoulder extension with retraction and external rotation. This one is a pretty challenging exercise. It addresses strength, stability, and mobility in the scapula and the shoulder in one continuous movement pattern. Doing this exercise on the Primus RS allows you to provide constant eccentric resistance through each point in the movement. With this exercise on the cable system, we're creating a protraction of the scapula first. Then the client will retract until the shoulder is in a neutral position. From there, you'll perform a shoulder extension until the elbow is at 90 degrees flexion. Lastly, they'll begin the external rotation and they'll be challenged to maintain the stable scapular position. This is a dynamic and compound exercise, and it's really beneficial for a wide variety of clients, including industrial workers, paramedics, nurses, and athletes. Finally, we can do a simulated throwing motion with a sphere. This exercise is obviously great for athletes who need to train through the full throwing motion, but it's also very powerful for clients like firefighters, construction workers, healthcare workers, and others doing multi-dimensional overhead movements. The client will be engaging their entire upper body, their lower extremities, and their core, just like in a live sports throw. Once you've progressed from the isolated strengthening to this fully functional simulation, you can address any biomechanical improvements the client may need. The shoulder is a complex yet commonly injured joint. With the BTE Primus RS, there are countless ways to address the isolation of each motion before safely progressing to these major integrated functions. The 5 exercises we've shown you today on the Primus RS can help your client regain scapular and shoulder strength and function. You can add variety using different attachments or working from seated and standing positions. Changing heights and angles opens up countless possibilities for creative simulation. Join us next time as we explore neuromuscular efficiency, range of motion, and flexibility with P&F patterns using the Primus RS. Remember to subscribe and tap the bell to get notified about our next video on the latest rehab techniques.